Thank you for having me. I'm here on behalf of African Union, and African Union, now we are happy to be member of the G20, which is a group of 20 rich countries, if I may say. African Union Development Agency, which is the implementing agency of the African Union. We are pleased to be part of G20 meetings. And the good thing is we are starting very important topics and these technical sessions looking at how we can end hunger and malnutrition not only in Africa but on the continent, because we are looking at the world in general. But as Africa, as we are sitting in this meeting as a member, we would like to advance our agenda as well. We benefit from the chairmanship of South Africa as a member of the African Union, and we leverage on that as African Union itself as a member of G20 to make sure we table important topics for discussion, and we make sure that we leverage on them. First, we would like to bring G20 members to conduct relevant research as long as food systems is concerned. We have recently launched the African CADAP. The CADAP is the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Program, new agriculture in Kampala, where we want to move in terms of food systems. We need to increase productivity, increase finance for agriculture, leverage on youth and women to make sure they are integral part of agricultural transformation, fighting malnutrition. So these things we require knowledge, we require experience, we require science evidence. That means we need to leverage on today's discussion. How can we bring in artificial intelligence? How can we bring in bioeconomy? How can we bring in scientist thinking to make sure that we achieve the maximum productivity as we're supposed to do? What we are bringing to the table as African Union, what we are advancing is that we discuss, we see good things, we see what has to be done, as we are sure that Africa has 60% of untapped arable land, which is still idle. How can we now partner with G20 members to make sure we bring technology to exploit this land, to make sure we produce more and we test all the technology I'm talking about so that we increase productivity on the African continent? And what we are challenging today is when we bring the communique, we say we recognize what Africa has to do. We recognize what the world has to do. We recognize what G20 has to do. We recognize that there is research to be done. We recognize that there is an effort to be done. And we are but now we are asking, after recognizing, after reaffirming, after recognizing, what actions now? We are calling our fellow member state, not because they are part of G20 now members, so we are calling them now, let's turn into actionable terms, like let's commit something, let's partner to do something. If we are talking about that we recognize that there is hunger or there is an untapped potential, now let's the communicate not be we recognize, but we commit to embrace new technology to support Africa to exploit these 60% of arable land which remain idle. And let's commit to mobilize funds together as G20 members, mobilize resources to finance agriculture, to do required research to transform our food systems. We would like to pass from passive statement into in our communique to action-oriented statement. That's the only way we believe we can leverage on G20 meetings and participation and chairmanship of African Union to make sure that we end hunger and malnutrition in Africa.